Hey guys, welcome back to the Existential Lounge. We are at the end of September, and you know what that means. That's the end of book one. Meditations has come to its end,
Yeah.
and here we are doing our little book review, little synopsis of what we liked, what it was, how it spoke to us, how
Yeah.
we're applying some stuff,
Yeah.
like we said, that first book was Meditations. Before we do get into like all the nitty gritty of it, I want to say, like, I think it's really cool, just the concept of this book. So at very first, it's just not even supposed to be a book.
Yeah.
We're essentially reading the private journal of Rome's greatest emperor,
Yeah.
which I think is insane.
Yeah. He didn't mean for it to be published. He was just
Yeah.
journaling to himself, oftentimes on the front lines, and just to himself to kind of reflect on like what is he going through on a regular basis and how can he maintain this like level of homeostasis, just being balanced, being calm and peaceful, and not allowing the like unavoidable harshnesses of reality to just always dig in on him.
Exactly. Yeah. I just find it so weirdly relatable to someone that shouldn't be relatable, Someone that, like, none of us, and nobody, you or me or anyone listening to this, is going to be able to relate to being the head of the biggest nation at the time.
Yeah.
And in a way that it was so autonomous in comparison to today too. Like, not even like the president of the US can really relate to the emperor of Rome.
Correct.
Because it was such autonomous power over, again, the biggest, largest, most powerful nation that existed at the time.
Yeah.
And he somehow just sounds like I'm reading an ordinary guy's ideas.
Yeah, I think that the thing that we both love so much about Stoic philosophy is that, especially in the way he articulates himself specifically, he puts such universal struggles and concepts within the human condition into such a simplistic and he just has a way of making sense of how to confront these things, and they're timeless. They're literally timeless. Every single thing, just about every single excerpt within here has a way of being directly relatable to us and how we can navigate our own lives on the level of an emperor or on the level of just a normal human being.
Yeah, 100%. He takes his struggles, and I think the reason that it works so well and it's so relatable is because he takes his problems and doesn't really explain it in the terms of his problems, or rather the principal issue that underlies those problems.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting that. Yeah, he just the meat and the fat of the issue is thrown away, and it's just the skeleton of the actual issue he's facing.
Right. Like, he could be, I don't know, just off the top of my head, what's an issue that an emperor faces? Like, whether to attack a small nation or not. And we're sitting here and we're like, should I go to the gym today?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's looking at it. We're really having the same problem. It's an issue of temptation. It's an issue of doing the right thing or not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Sunk cost fallacy, all these different things.
Yeah.
And it's insane because he'll make his thing of like attacking a small nation be the same thing as us. Do I get up and go to the gym today?
Yeah.
Because at the principal level, we're really having the same problem.
Yeah. What are the things that are driving me, that are like, what forms of logic am I relying on to justify this decision or action? And like, are my emotions getting the best of me? Am I attacking because like, oh, I need to show my ego that I'm strong and all this stuff? Or am I not attacking because maybe I'm feeling weak, but I know I should? And in the same way of like going to the gym or not going to the gym, like, oh, I'm comfy in bed, I know I should go, but I'm really justifying not because I'm appeasing to the emotions. And so much of that is just not appeasing to the emotions.
And when you look at all these things at those principal levels, it's just issues that transcend time. It's just part of the human experience. We all, in principle, really kind of live the same lives. We're the same organism in the same ecosystem. We're gonna have the same problems. It just doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Those problems may be colored in different ways, but at the end of the day, the canvas is the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Stoicism does such a great job of tearing down just and looking at the problems in a really simplistic way and delivering really simplistic, non-overly convoluted spiritual kind of approaches. It kind of just breaks it down into really formal logic and in a way that is approachable for everyone.
Yeah, the way that I think philosophy should be written. I mean, by no means am I saying that someone who's never dived into philosophy can just pick up Marcus and completely understand it. There's going to be some places you're lost and some places where you don't grasp things. But I think that's just as a result of the intricacies of the topics he's tackling, and not out of a necessity of him wanting to make it complicated.
Correct.
At no point was he trying to over intellectualize. Some parts are going to be over intellectualized, but that's just the nature of what's being talked about.
Yeah, some things are just inherently kind of complicated.
Exactly.
And like, but still, I think the pursuit of breaking it down in the most simplistic way that he was able to personally, like, that's kind of the goal. And like, he shed a lot of light on that. Like, don't be overly flashy with your language. Be as straightforward as possible so that you can connect to the masses in the easiest way.
Yeah. What else is the point of just speech and vocabulary if it's not to get your point across? What are we really doing when we sit here and try to use all these $5 words, $10 words, just for the sake of being smart? You're losing the like point of what we're doing. The point of dialogue is lost when you make the other person not be able to grasp what you're putting down.
And I think that all of that would be a nod to him not wanting to appease to the emotions, because oftentimes when people find themselves doing that, it's because they care a lot about the perception, the external perception of one's own be it their knowledge. Like, how do I come off as a person? I want to be interpreted as this, so I'm going to posture myself in a way that's maybe too far on the spectrum so that I'm seen as that, but that just is, I'm flashy now. I'm not just authentic, you know?
Right. It's just, again, his ability to just seem like a regular guy. I think it all gets back to that, where he's like, if we spoke the same language, we could really just chop it up at a dinner table and it'd all be normal.
Yeah.
You would never feel like you're talking to some huge figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're going to skip a little forward. I mean, that was just our little quick reflections on what we thought about the book. But we wanted to tackle specific topics that we think he emphasizes a lot.
Yeah.
And that we personally identify and like relate with a lot.
100%. Yeah. Things that we just see such high utility in, big categories of the book, big categories of thought and philosophy that he was passionate about, that like literally just kind of exude the main foundations of Stoicism all throughout them.
Yeah, 100%.
And those pillars can just be seen in a lot of ideas, and we kind of wanted to explore those within here.
I don't want to say we're saying all of them either, because there's a lot more in there. They're like, you guys who read it, you'll know, and the ones that haven't, you should. But we just picked out like, I think 4 or 5 that really resonate with us.
Yeah.
And we wanted to dive deeper into those. So yeah, that first one that we were going to talk about is his constant just reminder that death's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing that's going to come. It's a thing that's going to come for all of us. I mean, it's the classic memento mori, carpe diem. And he hammers that home almost on a regular basis in every single book of the entire book. The book's divided into books. Little convoluted, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think something I love that he does is like, he just fought to like not have death be this taboo, creepy topic. He's like, dude, literally dying is just as normal as being alive. It's just a process of life. It's a part of being a part of the whole.
Yeah.
And like, it's just nature, and like, you need to live in accordance with the natural processes of nature. So like, don't be fearful of death. Embrace it. Recognize it as this looming entity over you that like it could take you at any given moment. And so he looked at it consistently as this motivator to lead the life that you genuinely want to live. Because
I like the idea of it being nothing more than just a thing that's part of everything anyways.
Yeah.
Like, you're not scared of going to sleep at night. You're not scared of waking up in the morning. You're not scared of breathing. You're not scared of having to blink today. You don't really like, I have to, like, I don't know, what's the regular human function?
Ride a bike.
Ride a bike, sure. Like, drive to work. All these things are just normal things that you do.
Yeah.
And I like that he grabs death and he's like, that's just another normal thing we do.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that happens.
Yeah, just in the same way as like digesting food is a bodily process, so too is death. Look at it no other way. And
then reframes the whole idea of this looming thing that hangs over everyone to it being more of like a motivator, like you were saying, where it's this thing, it's a finish line. Like, we have a finish line, we have an expiration date, so we got to make the most of it while we're here.
Yeah.
In a very Camus type way, honestly.
Yeah.
Just that reminder that the finish line's there and there's nothing after, to our understanding.
Yeah. That like, so kind of to like expand on that one excerpt where he says that in everything you do, pause and ask yourself if death is a dreadful thing because it deprives you of this. So like, picture a passion that you have, and you're like, you have to think about, I'm gonna die one day, and then like, I can't do that thing anymore if I die.
Yeah.
Like it adds value to life by shining the light on the things we actually care about. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the ultimate litmus test of, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah, 100%. It really just shines a light on like the people that you really value, and the things that you take pride in, that you just enjoy, that like literally make life worth living, because it's those passions and the people that are really why we're here and why we choose to keep going on every day. And I think
or go ahead.
Yeah, just to like, if you don't know what you're doing in life, kind of ask yourself sometimes, like, if I'm gonna die, like, what would make me miss being alive because I can no longer do those things.
Right, and I think that's the more open-ended question of trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
But I like the approach of just looking at it with every decision we're making.
Yeah.
And when I say every, of course, it's going to be very hyperbolic. But like when you're getting ready to do something, right? Just take that second, stop and pause, ask yourself, if death is a dreadful thing because it will deprive me of being able to do this thing ever again.
Yeah.
That's such a cool and like just intricate way of looking at the choices we make, the activities we engage in, the people we interact with.
Yeah.
Is death bad because I won't be able to do these things anymore?
Yeah, I like that. It kind of like is a nudge reminder, are we on like the right path with the things that we value?
Exactly.
Because we get one shot at this. Like, we're never going to be able to revisit this day ever again and like get a second shot at it. And like, you know, on thinking of death being this infinity of like nothingness.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are you proud of the path you're about to embark on? Because like our time is so precious. Like, are you making the most out of it right now, or are you not? And like reflecting on that, as you were saying, like, is such a useful tool to like, all right, let's get right back on the path. Just a little like, you know, a little pivot this way. And it'll just increase the quality of life that you have.
Like, are you around the wrong crowds? Am I engaging in the wrong activities?
Yeah.
And if you're asking yourself, if right now, if I'm going to die at this very moment, will it be sad that I no longer am able to do this thing I'm doing right now? If the answer is no, then I shouldn't be doing it, because that's the way we need to live life every day, as if we are grasping at that one opportunity we have, because that's really what's happening.
Yeah.
And if we're wasting our time doing things that we won't miss when we die, then what are we doing?
Yeah. I think that reminds me of that one line that we have there that says, a limit has been set. Yeah, go for it.
Go.
A limit has been set on your time, and if you don't use it to dispel the mist, it will pass, and you will pass, and the opportunity won't come again.
Right. That again, so the idea that we, on average, and I mean, hey, to him it was even worse, probably like 50-ish years, but to us, we have about 70 years.
Yeah.
You know, when actually earlier today we were talking a little bit about this, and we were saying how what's a long time to do something.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning someone else, and you were like, oh, they haven't been doing this for too long. They've been doing it for a year. And I said, well, really think about it. We on average got like 70 something years.
Yeah.
Using one of those is a long time.
It is.
1 year is not a short amount of time.
No.
In the grand scheme of how much we have.
Yeah.
And then not only that, so we got 70 something, right? Think about that. We aren't autonomous until mid-20s.
Yeah.
We really only have about 50 years to make of this life what we want.
Yeah, and that's a blink.
Imagine giving up one of them because it's all right.
Yeah.
That scares me. And yeah, just to, like I said, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And it won't come again. Like he's saying, that opportunity is here now, and you either do what you can with this opportunity, or you exist the rest of eternity regretting it.
Yeah, 100%. Reminds me of that Eminem song. Geez, what was the name of that song?
Oh,
yeah,
one shot, one opportunity.
Sees everything every wanted.
Oh, don't get us copyright.
But yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. I think that we need to use the idea of death, picture it, really get accustomed with it, kind of drop the taboo-ness of it, the kind of
embrace it.
Yeah, the knee-jerk reaction we have to like feel uncomfortable. I think if you feel uncomfortable when thinking about death, like off the cuff, I think spend more time with the idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you if you stop and think about death and it makes you uncomfortable that it's coming, it's probably a good indicator that you need to rethink what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing the things that are fulfilling to you, the things that make this life worth living, then death shouldn't be a thing that scares you, because you've done what you want. You're doing what you want.
Yeah.
And we don't have this written down here, but one that comes to mind from the book was death smiles at us all we can do is smile back.
Yeah. I still, like, just to put it out there, like, death can still be just like this creepy topic. Like, yeah, it's just something like when we break it down with logic, right? Like, we cease to exist, and so, like, there isn't anything uncomfortable about the experience of death itself. But like when you think about like nothingness for eternity, like, because we had woke, like Alan Watts said, he like had some quote where he's like, we have woken up without ever having gone to bed, but now we're about to go to bed and never wake up ever again.
Yeah.
And the idea of nothingness for eternity is just unsettling as a thing. But it's no time though. Like, there isn't time with it. We've already done it.
So everything exists in the presence of an observer, of an agent experiencer.
Of course.
So if there's no experiencer, there's nothing to dread. And I know this is like a really unpopular take, but like, I really don't have a fear of death. I think death is just, to quote Marcus again, the disillusion of everything.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be scared of. You can't be scared of. I don't see how you can find death a creepy thing. When you really think about it, we didn't exist prior to the date we were born. Like, prior to June 15th, 98, I didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I was never scared. I was never hungry. I was never missing people. I was never alone. I was never sad. I was never felt betrayed. None of these things existed because the experiencer, wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the biggest issue that we have is we are overriding one of the most if not the most powerful motivators that we have baked within our primal, like, biology, which is like avert death, avert pain at all costs.
Yeah.
And like, so yeah, logically speaking, like, there's no reason to fear death, but like, if you can overcome and recontextualize the concept, like, you kind of need, because naturally we are just primed to be fearful of it. So we have to like ease ourselves into this like different idea and way of framing it. I think that there is an important distinction though to be made, which is like, it makes total sense to be afraid of like pain. I think when we think of death, we often think of like killing and like, you got hurt, disease, like all this stuff, like suffering. But like death as within a vacuum, like as an isolated just idea of like consciousness ceasing to exist and all that, like, yeah, it's not a scary thing because there's nothing there, like there's nothing there to be afraid of.
Like, I think the idea of like, think of you prior to you were born is one that is a little harder to conceptualize for most people. One that I think could work better is, we all sleep and sometimes we dream, but sometimes we don't. Mm-hmm. What happens between that time? Can you tell me what happens the nights you don't sleep, you don't dream?
Yeah, no,
you just
literally
don't exist.
Yeah, you just blink and you're like, oh, it's daytime now.
Exactly. And I think that's, at least my intuition leads me to believe that is what death will be.
Yeah, isn't there that saying that like sleep is the cousin of death?
Yeah,
we're kind of just like prepping for it. Yeah. Like, that's what it feels like, you know.
It's death light.
Yeah. Every single night we're literally prepping. We're like going to bed and like we're allowing ourselves to be relinquished of being, in a sense. We're allowing this like darkness to take hold of us and take us somewhere unexpected. And like,
it's a thing, like he was saying, it's just this thing that's going to come for all of us. And I think the like to put a bow on this whole thing is just make do of what you have while you have it.
Yeah,
we exist right now. I'm paraphrasing him here, but he says a man's life only exists in like an instance.
Yeah,
we exist right now. The past is gone and the future's uncertain.
Yeah.
We exist in this very moment. That is the only time you can ever count on, is this exact moment. Even when I started this sentence is gone and it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah.
I think another thing to touch on though real quick, like to end the like topic of death with regards to like his ideas, is it's cool to think like death was such a tool for this guy. It was such a tool to like reframe how you live your life. But like one of the biggest things that he did it with is humbling himself. And like one of the quotes, like one of the like, you know, excerpts that he speaks on, he goes into saying that like soon your bones will be just a name or not even that. And so he's consistently reminding himself, like, I may be emperor right now, I have all this power and all this, but one day I'm literally going to be bones, and maybe not even just bones. Like, I'm dust. I'm absolutely nothing. I'm not even a name to be remembered, whatever it may be. Lo and behold, like, he's going to be passed down for who knows how long now, into the future. And be
I guess
known.
he was wrong.
But I mean, even then, like, I think that, like, not to say like I know this for a fact or anything like that, but like on a long enough timeline, like who knows what can happen to like even like the largest figures in history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like things can be forgotten, all that, and changed. Who knows what? But essentially, what I'm trying to say is like he used death as such a humbling practice to reflect on, like, yeah, I'm all high and mighty now, but like I'm literally going to be in the dirt, being consumed by bugs and birds and whatever, what have you. And that's it. And that's what we all become. We all have that same fate, all of us. And so I can't look at myself as higher and mightier than any other man, because we all have the same fate. We are bound to the same exact fate, and that like brings us all together in this sense of unity. And it's a special idea.
Yeah. And I was touching earlier on how of the 70-ish years we have, take off the first 2 decades because we don't really have self-autonomy, right?
Yeah.
Also take off the last 2.
Yeah, because we lose that again.
That's what I was going to talk about. He says, we must make haste then, not only because we're daily nearer to death, but also because the conception of things and the understanding of them cease first.
Yeah.
Essentially what he's saying is death is coming. It's coming for all of us. But something else leaves before existing does. Before the body deteriorates and eventually just shuts off, the brain starts going first.
Yeah, use your faculties while you have them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not going to have them. And I think another thing also is like, our bodies are freaking crazy. Like, they're machines that can do unbelievable things. There will be a time one day where you never run again, where you never climb again, where you never jump off of something high up and because it was fun or whatever it may be. Like, there are going to be the last times you can do incredible things that our bodies permit us to do. While you have the opportunities to do those things, do them and enjoy them, and be there fully presently, because they're a gift of life that we should embrace, and they're wonderful and beautiful, and they're not to be taken for granted because we have them for such a sliver of time.
Yeah, 100%. I think, he was talking mostly about the our faculties of reason. But I think extending that to the faculties of like our body and our movement and our capabilities, definitely it puts a lot more into perspective. We can right now, if you and I decided to, we'll go outside and sprint for a few hours. And we can.
Hours.
Maybe that. Maybe not that. Hours in spurts. But like, we can go out there and do that.
100%.
Who says in 20, 25 years we still will?
Yeah.
Take advantage of all the things you are able to do, because existence is fickle.
It is. And honestly, not even then. Like, we don't even have to rely on death. Who knows? Something accident could happen to where, you can't do those things. So regardless of death, like, life throws us unexpected curveballs, and enjoy what you have while you have it, because it doesn't always take even death to remove those simple pleasures from us.
100%. Another of the big things we wanted to talk about was his insistence on living a simple life, regardless of how much status or resources or anything you have. Just remain grounded. Remind yourself that you're just human, as we were touching so much on the previous thing. That a lot of these things are going to be intertwined, but simple existing and just being humble, a lot of it comes from knowing that just like the people who don't have the resources I may have, I'm going to die too. And I'm no different than them because I have this, or they don't have that, or I don't have this and they do have that.
I think what's super cool is he kind of looks at like everyone being a part of this whole. Everyone's a part of the same thing. Everyone's a part of just being together in this oneness of the universe, and to keep our roots with that. I think that that's what's super cool and like super valuable. Is like he was saying, like here we were born to work together, like feet or hands or eyelids, like the rows of upper and lower teeth to work against each other is like unnatural. And like anger and rejection count as working against. So like we just need to work together as beings, and like kind of like, I don't know if this is like a stupid parallel, but like leaves on a tree, like it's all part of this like one thing. And like you don't see the leaves like going after each other, obviously, like they don't have the capability to do so, but we should treat each other as like we're all connected on this tree, and like we're just all in alignment with each other. We're all just row by row next to each other, and like just connect, be there.
I think his allegory of using body parts works so well because the whole doesn't function unless the parts work together.
Yeah.
And that's what he's really trying to get home.
Yeah.
Working and fighting against one another. If one foot was trying to walk backwards while the other one was trying to walk forward, the body just wouldn't move.
Do a split.
Yeah. If one eyelid was blinking and the other one refused to, that other eye's going to get dry.
Yeah.
All these different things. And that's really analogous to how society works. And if one part of society is doing this but the other one refuses to do this, or if they're going against each other deliberately, the whole cannot work if the parts don't work together. And it's so important for, again, to go right back to what he was saying before, is that these things are going to be different. These things are going to be of different, quote, air quote, importance, of different, quote, value, of different status, but it doesn't matter because all those things are periphery. All those things are auxiliary. If the thing itself isn't working together, the whole can't operate.
If you just like take the man out of the equation, like you kind of just like put a bunch of like high status people and like just regular people in a room, without the ideas we ascribe to them, you would just see normal people. All of them. You wouldn't be able to distinguish one from another. And so I think that like treating people in that way is useful, and we have to see that. And I think like looking at intentionality and really just embracing people as they are, and like doing our best to just coexist in a healthy and optimal way is just like the only way to go.
100%. I think another good thing is, or another thing he emphasized is, a lot of the times we find ourselves asking things of the world, be it asking things of our partners, our surroundings, our friends, our family, our relationships. If you're religious, your God. If you're like hyper political, your politicians. I don't know. We're always seem to find ourselves asking for things of others, asking for things of the universe. Why did I not get this? The universe is unfair. Why is this the trial I'm facing right now? All these different things. And religions in a lot of ways have kind of gone a roundabout way of personifying this thing and saying like, you're not giving in a test that you can't overcome type of thing. But I mean, again, you guys know neither of us are very religious. I really like the idea how he points it, where he's talking to the universe. He somewhat personifies the universe here, and he's talking to them. And it says, universe, your harmony is my harmony. Nothing in your good time is too late or too early for me. Nature, all that your seasons bring is fruit to me. All which comes from you exists in you and will return to you. And it's just such a good way of, there's never going to be a problem I'm facing that, why did I get this right now? Of course this happened to me right now. It couldn't have happened at a worse time. No, it happened at the only time it could have happened, and we got to be okay with it. Nothing of the universe that comes at its time is too late or too early for us.
Nothing's by accident. Everything's just happening in this kind of clockwork way. Like there's a thing always pushing another thing into place. And I think, again, this kind of goes back to just exercising the muscle of acceptance. In many
100%.
ways, because what you're accepting is accepting being a part of the whole, you know, and that's essentially.
And not to say that these things are true, but I think there is a importance to, or validity to having the viewpoint that these things are meant for you, right? that they're at the right time, that this is when it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like, sure, none of that is real. And if we go down the logic rabbit hole, we'll say that none of this matters and nothing really came to you because it had to, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think that when you look at things through the scope of human existence, there's poetry to how the universe works. And of course, it's like I said, it's not deliberate. The universe isn't anthropomorphized and does these things on purpose to us. But I do think that there's this almost ironic poetry to how things happen to work out.
Yeah.
And it's in our it's in our power to make that poetry make sense.
Yeah.
But I do see the value in looking at events coming to you as it came to me when it was supposed to, because this is what I needed right now.
Yeah. And oftentimes that's the case, because when it comes to us in those moments, oftentimes we're simultaneously experiencing events that molded our perception in such a way to gather that new happening and interpret it in a way that like propels us like further and further.
Yeah.
And we just keep doing that. And I think it's interesting, like the wisdoms of, the events that happen to us today help us for the things that happen to us later.
Yeah.
And it just keeps becoming this culmination where all these events just go hand in hand because they're connected. And they assist one another, and they take us somewhere.
Yeah, that's the big one. I think that looking at the connectedness of actions and inactions and consequences and reactions and all these things is why it seems so often that things happen to us when they were, quote, supposed to. Because nothing that's happening to you happens in a vacuum. Nothing is fired at you just like, pew, just randomly. Everything that comes to you or that leaves you is a result of things you've done.
Yeah.
Not in a karma way, but just in a like domino effect kind of way.
Yeah, causal.
Yeah, like the things we put out are the things that's around us, which is the things that's going to come back to us. And again, I know how like at face value what I'm saying can sound very like astrology manifesting, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the things we do, the choices we make, they're important. They matter, and they affect the stuff and people around us. And they affect the opportunities that will arise themselves to you. They affect the trials that will come to you, because it's just how it works. If I'm never leaving the house and don't talk to anyone, how can I expect to ever make that one networking connection that's going to change my life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas someone who's out there is like, I'm manifesting that I'm going to have that person who's going to fix my career, and they're out there constantly talking in different support groups, different friend groups, different circles that talk about the things that they're interested in. Sure, they might be misguided in the thought that they're manifesting the universe to do this, but they were putting themselves in the positions where these things are going to come to them.
Yeah, it's the idea of like of manifestation without the mysticism. It's the bare bones like base idea, which is posturing oneself in alignment with certain ideas and actions that are conducive towards these particular goals. Right? Like if I want to become like a good athlete, like I need to envision that, and I need to like eat certain ways and like start moving in certain ways, and eventually like I go around certain circles of people, and that just leads me towards a particular direction where it makes it more and more and more possible that my being becomes this thing that I'm like, trying to gear myself towards.
Yeah, 100%. It just intentionality behind what we do, because it affects everything.
Yeah, and I think that is, we'll probably touch on this like later, because that's one of our other like big topics, but within mindset. But like intentionality is literally one of the largest things that like Marcus speaks about, which is so intense and interesting and amazing, because this man was so meticulous, so careful and precise with how he would even think. Like if you take a moment to like think, is this thought like conducive towards like what my goals are and what I'm trying to be and do? Like he recognizes that. So like part of the whole manifestation thing, like with existing and being in accordance with nature, like always being keen on the nature of your thoughts and what they're composed of on a regular basis is so important, because they determine your entire life.
Yeah, all these things do. Everything that we decide or don't decide to do set a different set of dominoes into motion. Yeah,
they're like little votes for this person or this person that will become.
Yeah, it's the way that we got to look at everything, because it really is just infinitely convoluted set of dominoes falling.
Yeah.
We just got to make sure we set the dominoes we want to fall.
Exactly. Yeah, then we got that next topic, which involves the importance of a strong father figure. It's pretty amazing. Within book 1, he really just goes in on the people that have positively influenced him in his life.
Yeah.
And he really sheds a lot of light on his father in ways that are like really touching, and definitely land with a lot of males, that I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, with he speaks, I think, that first passage about his father, saying like, my father, I observed mildness of temper and unchangeable resolution in the things which he had determined after due deliberation, and no vainglory in those things which men call honors, a love of labor and perseverance, and a readiness to listen to those who had anything to propose for the common weal, and undeviating firmness in giving to every man according to his deserts.
Yeah. So to make that long passage more,
it is pretty long. Yeah, that was a lot all at once.
We'll tackle like each little piece. So he says, from my father, calmness and unshakable adherence to deliberately made decisions.
Yeah.
So nothing he chose to do, no action he decided to take, no legislation he decided to make law, none of these things were done on a whim.
Yeah.
One of the main things he talks about constantly about his dad is that unshakable adherence to a deliberately made decision. Mm-hmm. He talks later on in the same section about his dad, about how his dad never moved on from any book without fully understanding everything it had to offer. Mm-hmm. And that he treated everything he tackled in that same way.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just say, yes, we're passing or we're not passing this piece of legislation. Obviously, I'm kind of breaking up how that, legislation wasn't passed the same way then that it is now in the U.S.
For sure.
But, essentially that idea that, nothing for the state would be done without him completely and fully understanding the thing he's either saying yes or no to.
Yeah, no knee-jerk reactions, just let's be very intentional with what we're doing and why.
Super intentional, and at all times intentional, and intentional through logic as well.
Yeah.
He talks about his dad's ability to compartmentalize emotion with logic. Because he later on goes to say how his dad was a really good person to be around. Friends liked to come over for dinner. His dad was a good jokester when he needed to be. People laughed with him. People cried. People smiled. All these different things with his dad. But when it came time to be logical, his dad could completely derive himself of all emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important ability to have as a man, and something that's hard to learn if you don't have the super strong father figure like he's explaining.
Yeah.
I'll speak for myself here. Obviously, I don't. I didn't grow up with a father figure in my life, so reading these books, it's almost I don't know what word I want to use there, but it's bittersweet in a way.
Yeah.
That these type of men exist for young boys. It's awesome, and I really, really, really like that. And I'm happy for everyone that got it. But at the same time, when I first read this book when I was younger, it did kind of make me sad that wasn't a thing that existed for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But in the vein of everything we've talked about, I did reframe that thought process into, well, that means I got to become this figure.
Yeah. It then becomes your responsibility. Once the wisdom and knowledge has been bestowed onto you, you then have that responsibility to carry it forward and be that which you didn't have.
Exactly.
And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
It is bittersweet, though. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Then he goes on to say, indifference to the empty glory of so-called honors.
Yeah.
I like that so much.
Yeah.
We don't care about the hoopla and the greatness and oh, you're amazing, we love you, oh dear ruler.
Yeah.
The subjects of Rome didn't need to deify, which his dad was deified. Marcus ended up not wanting to be deified. Commodus to deify him after death.
Yeah.
But in his life, he never wanted to be deified.
Yeah.
But yeah, that we don't need those things. Those things don't matter. The fruits of our labor are shown in the fact that we're running this nation the best we can.
Yeah.
That's the praise I need, is when I look out the window and Rome is happy.
Yeah. As a scientist, you don't produce a cure for a disease
to get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, you do it because you're increasing the quality of life of humans and all across the entire globe and less suffering, and that should be enough. You shouldn't need more and shouldn't be doing it for that, because I think that when we start to do things for the wrong reasons, it taints our actions and it lessens the quality in which we can interact with said like activity and like in our productions within it. Like I think it has a way of tainting that and changing it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm helping someone to like help myself, like we often do it differently. There's I think that humans have this sixth sense where like we can even sense authenticity.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think not to get too political, but we talked about it earlier late last year during the elections, where the authenticity of Kamala was palpable.
Yeah, 100%.
Or the lack thereof, rather.
Yeah, and I think that you know, people see that, and he's talking about the importance of posturing yourself with the correct intentionality, and like how people are an end in and of themselves, and
exactly that's it. I think that's the best way to put it, is that what is the end? Why am I doing this? It's not for praise. The end is the people. The end is my subjects, the common people of Rome, the SPQR, the Senatus Popularique.
I think the big issue with the other is like it becomes a system of soothing the ego and fueling it. Like I think it has a way of, like, if you're doing things for the praise is doing something. It's literally you're creating a fuel to something that becomes toxic, where you need this, and you start to develop vices and all that. But I think that you become so healthy minded when you stop doing things for the ego. And you do things for the outsideness of you. The outsideness of you, for just the world.
I think, I mean, this might get a little too like meta and too epistemological. Is that the right word? I think it is.
Try it.
At the end of the day, if we look at everything through a completely logical lens, all of our actions are in the end is ourselves. But I think, again, it's that reframing and looking at things from the, I don't know if I've ever explained this idea on the channel, but I think I have. I might have.
We'll see.
The idea that the way that I compartmentalize these two things early on, because I feel like I came to the realization early on that like inherently nothing matters, nothing's good, nothing's bad, no one's good, no one's bad. The universe doesn't care. We're just here vibing until we're not. And that was a quick train to nihilism. The way that early me was able to compartmentalize those two things was looking at existence in two scopes. So the large all-encompassing scope I call the universal scope. It's that where we look at these things for what they are. There is no inherent meaning. There is no matter to anything. There is no value inherently to anything. We're just here. We happen to wake up and we're eventually going to go back to sleep. That's it. That's all that really exists. But I found that even though I had come to those truths and understanding those, I couldn't live that way. It wasn't not only practical, it wasn't doable for me.
Same with free will, lack thereof.
That's one of the things that exist in the universal scope, is that we don't have free will. But those things, I can't exist that way. Again, not only not practically, but just physically. I cannot exist in that space. So what I did was, inside of the big universal scope, there's a smaller little scope that I called the human scope of understanding. And that's where we need to exist. That's where we need to maneuver. We need to be privy of the entire universal scope, but maneuver within the human scope. Otherwise, we can't work.
I think another one of those things is one of those big concepts that we've spoken about with regards to this overarching idea is that like everything that we do is a means to like be happy and like feel good.
That's what I was getting at eventually.
But we can't constantly live like that, because like I remember I had that moment. I was like, oh no, shit, everything I do, I'm just this selfish thing and I hate it. But like I can't let that fall into the forefront, because then you can let it consume you, and everything you do you'll feel like isn't true and real and all this, and
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm good.
To kind of explain that more, because I think at face value, that's something that's hard to digest for anybody who's listening.
I thought we've spoken about it before, but yeah, I think we should revisit it though.
Yeah. So the idea is nothing we're doing is for the sake of other people, actually. We just do things because they make us feel good. At the end of the day, it's a concept that Brandon and I have come to just say or call agent wants to be happy. Everything we do is to serve that happiness of the agent, because happy agents, when you get a lot of them, are more conducive for organism to survive and continue to reproduce.
Exactly.
So the biological push we have inside of us is to always be selfish.
Yeah.
Everything we do is to be selfish. In the universal scope, in the objective, logical, universal scope, everything we do is because we want to keep that barometer of happiness high in the agent.
Yeah.
Because that makes us more likely to continue the species.
Yeah, I remember the first like thing that I ever saw, this like pop cultural like expression of this idea, was when I was like watching Friends recently for the first time, and and Joey literally at some episode literally just starts talking about like, yeah, everything we do is selfish, and like all the characters are like, what? No way. And he's like, yeah, and like he basically just goes into it. Like a big chunk of the episode is literally diving into that idea, which was funny as hell because he's like absent-minded a lot of the time.
I love the trope of like the absent-minded character randomly just
it's fucking awesome. But yeah, I think in even with regards to sacrifice, we just do, you could think that like even giving your life up for something, it makes
you're really doing it for the martyrism.
Yeah, you feel better alive in that moment, giving up your life, because it makes you feel better than if you didn't, and the devastations that came because if you didn't happened.
I remember Alex O'Connor caught a lot of heat because he said the fireman who enters a burning building to save a baby didn't do it for the baby.
That's so funny.
People were upset. But like, it's true. And if we really look at the like biochemical catalyst that made that happen, that fireman likes the praise.
Yeah, but also like, what could he have lived with himself if he didn't go in there?
Exactly.
Like,
what really was better for him to continue to exist?
Yeah.
Is it better to take the chance of dying in that fire to save that kid, or existing knowing you didn't try?
Yeah.
And that's really what the driver was there. But again, to go back to the whole idea of the two spheres of like existence, we can't operate in that.
Yeah.
We can't look at every action we take as being a selfish action, because it doesn't work. You can't maneuver reality that way. Yeah. So we have to do these things like Marcus was talking about here, and what we were going on about, which honestly we went on such a big tangent that lost me. Oh yeah, it was the statesman. The idea of a good statesman doing things for the sake of his people and not for the sake of the honors that come from it.
Yes.
And yeah, if we're doing things from the scope of human understanding, we have to do things that way. Yeah. Otherwise, we devolve into these just egotistical creatures that take that stuff in the outside and make it the human scope.
Yeah.
And that's just a cold world to existence. So I really like, again, what we were really getting to here was the important things he learned from his dad.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. He goes on as well, and this is one of my really favorite ones. He talks about the enjoyance of luxury. Enjoyance, is that a word?
It is now.
It is. It works. But
we're both out here just making up words.
Yeah. Actually, none of this is words at all. People put this on and there's nothing. There's just random sounds. But back to this. He says he revered his dad's ability to enjoy the material comforts of life, which fortune gave him in abundance, in an unpretentious way, but also without apology, so that he simply accepted them as matters of fact when he had them and felt no lack when they were gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool. That's such a cool reframing, because a lot of the times the people who want to be selfless and want to be like righteous will be like, I don't like the luxuries. What's the opposite of materialist?
I don't know. Minimalist, yes.
Yes, like we're minimalists. We don't care. And honestly, if we turn this camera around, you guys will see our apartment. But we don't have anything. We're just in a couch in a white room. But a lot of people will try to take that in the righteous route of being like, you see, materialism is bad, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be a minimalist because that's the righteous path to take.
Yeah.
And Marcus is saying, well, hold on now. We don't hate having nice things.
Yeah,
Everyone
let's
likes
just be
it.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. You in your minimalist apartment, if I told you, hey, let's go right now and buy you the nicest car you like, you're going to be like, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
So how do we maneuver that just fact that we all like nice things? How do we maneuver that fact while staying righteous?
Yeah. Let's have a loose grip on them.
Yeah. Is that, like he said, fortune happened to give his family a lot of great things. I mean, we know this. His adoptive father was an emperor. His dad was a statesman. Roman emperors were long lines of a bunch of families, honestly. Like, he's part of the Antonine line or whatever it's called. I forget off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it? No, because his dad was, or his adoptive father's Verus Pius, right? I might be completely wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Verus. Verus was his adoptive father, who was the previous emperor before him. And so he comes from a long line of just families that had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, we like having stuff. We're not going to lie here and say we don't like it. This is like, we're minimalist because that's the virtuous position to take. But what you should do is not attach your happiness to these things.
Yeah.
And the most important part of that excerpt is that second half where he says he simply accepted them as matters of fact when he had them and felt no lack when they were gone.
Yeah.
When we have them, they're nice and we enjoy them. If we don't have them, it's fine. Life goes on. So it's that these things are, I think you were saying this earlier today, is that these nice things are kind of the sprinkles on top of the cake.
Yeah, I was saying they're like garnishes on a dish of like mashed potatoes and steak. Like, they're just little little leaves. You know?
Like, it makes it prettier.
It does.
We like a little bit of garnish on our steak, and the little greens look nice.
Little seasoning.
But like, we're really eating the steak.
Yeah.
And the steak in this analogy is the person. It's the soul. It's the understanding. It's our knowing of ourselves. That's what real happiness is. And I get how this can come off preachy and everyone's like rolling their eyes when people say this, but like, money doesn't bring happiness. And I get that I get why people roll their eyes, because for a long time I rolled my eyes at that idea. Mm-hmm. But we really do have to learn ourselves to be happy. Yeah. Otherwise, you're doing what he's saying is wrong, which is adding your happiness is to these material things.
Yeah, I think what's important to like think about, like on that, the easiest way to look at it is a lot of people that have never had any money, like, and were miserable beforehand, get a lot of money, and then they're like happy for a little bit. It spikes, right? There's this like feeling of like, oh my God, okay, things are okay. And then boom, you flatline again at like the same level. And you're like, I'm not happy anymore. Well, what changed? What happened? There's some things that like money assists with momentarily, but you find yourself in this similar state because deeper things of like a lack of connectedness to yourself, spirituality, whatever it may be, was missing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're like kind of alluding to here, or directly saying that like the meat and potatoes is connecting to those things and not having such a tight hold on the idea that like, if I have a Lamborghini and a $10 million like house, that like, that's going to be the solutions here. They're not. We all like those things, but like, don't grip to them so tightly and don't make those the kind of like end goals here, because you eventually wind up miserable again if you weren't happy to begin with, because you just wind up back there. It doesn't solve those deeper issues.
And most importantly, this is the biggest thing that he said he cares about for his father, is he was regular in his bathing habits.
There we go. No stinky days.
Yeah, can't be stinky out here.
Yeah.
And
that's funny.
Yeah, I'm reading it verbatim. He was regular in his bathing habits.
After all, it just ends with that? That's
no, there's more.
Oh, okay. I thought it just ended on that.
He just goes off on all this, and my dad didn't stink.
Yeah. Honestly, if he just ended with that, like, yeah, he had some feeling that his dad had some crazy BO. I mean, people had to have had some some crazy stink back then. Holy
definitely. Shit. But on a more serious note, he does go on to say more here. I underlined this. He says that one may live in a palace without requiring bodyguards, flashy clothing, torchlight, statues, and similar trumpery. and that an emperor can make his life almost as circumscribed as that of a private citizen without thereby debasing himself or being less active in carrying out the duties that are required of him on behalf of the state.
Yeah.
So just, we don't need the, like, again, almost tied into what we were just saying, we don't need those luxuries. They're nice and they happen, but what are we here for? We're statesmen. We're here to lead this nation in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And none of these things are necessary for that.
They're not. No. Yeah, I like that a lot, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like the tools that we need to be proper statesmen are in our ideas and in our disciplines of like how to lead and to take care of ourselves so that our minds are nurtured to be able to like delegate and to be able to like think of ways to better the lives of those around us. We need pens and paper and circles of people around us to like have open discourse. We don't really need high, the white ivory towers and lavish things all over the place. You don't need those to do that. And I think recognizing that like that isn't the need there, but it's nice to have them and to embrace them when they're there, but like don't miss them when they're gone is like amazing.
Yeah. This is a bit of a side note and it's outside of the parental figure thing, but I think this is interesting. He says this here. It's cool because like these are, you know how Aristotle had his idea of like vices?
Yeah.
And how anything can be a vice?
100%.
He says here, he's grateful that I went no further than I did with rhetoric, poetry, writing, and the other pursuits that might well have absorbed me if I had found myself making progress on that path. So that even the things that we think are good, rhetoric, poetry, philosophy, writings, all these different things that he's happy that he didn't over pursue them, that those things didn't absorb him and replace him from what he found to be his true calling, which was serving the people of Rome. Because he goes on to say there, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to read directly from the book, but he goes on to say that had he stuck with writing a little more and he was proficient in it, maybe he would have become a writer. If he had been better or had dedicated more of his time to poetry, he might have become a poet and writing screenplays. And all those things, while they would have maybe been good, they would have detracted him from being a statesman and the leader of Rome that he wanted to be.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Just
and he's grateful that he had the discipline to dip his toes in these disciplines without just diving into them and letting them steer him away from what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, I like that a lot as well. 100%, because they can sway you. They can take you and you can become just ensconced with it, and who knows where that leads you, you know? Yeah.
And to end this whole section of his words on fatherly figures, he's talking about both his dad and what he wants to be for his kids. He lists out a few things that he says should be qualities of a father. He says, moderate in bodily pleasures, avoiding excess in luxuries and indulgences.
I think, to touch on that, I think that it doesn't come at face value that we shouldn't do things. If something feels good and our brains are like, let's just freaking do it. It isn't explicitly obvious at first, but any indulgence that we go into too much, we suffer later down. And it takes the person who did that to like have had that wisdom to then pass that on to like, wait, like this ice cream that you're really liking right now and you're eating every single night, that like that's going to turn into something you don't like later down the line. And I think that that's vital to leading a good life. We need to have moderation with literally everything. And without that, we have no autonomy, and it is bound in any direction to be disaster.
He also says he never let his anger or haste disturb his composure.
I love that.
There's no moment where a good father figure should let any type of emotion move him. He needs to be a rock in those moments. It's just the role. And I get that a lot of the times, and historically this has been used in a negative light, where like the whole man up idea. But like there's value to it, and there's just not only value, but there's a necessity to it. You have to have that as the strong paternal figure and leader of your like small group. Of course, he's talking more here in the sense of like leading Rome, but we're all leading a little bit, right? We're all leading our families. We're leading our groups, our people around us. You need to be able to take that role. The role of a leader is not one of emotion. And it might suck to say, but it's just the case. the emotion can be learned. The children can learn emotions from other places. Generally, and I don't want to get too much into like gender role ideas, but like generally that will be the mother that helps them understand those emotional realms better.
Yeah.
It is the job of the father to be not let anger, haste, happiness disturb the composure.
Yeah.
It's just such a pillar of developing a good young man to have a father figure that just is that rock.
Yeah.
You need to have that.
100%.
And I like that he touches on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that controlling emotions is incredibly difficult. I think it's something that as we evolve in life, we recognize it's kind of this never-ending balancing act of like, sure, I may have mastered something at one point, but then I grow older and then I have new problems, and then they demand of me to go back into this thing and back into the balancing act for this particular type of emotion. And it doesn't stop. And I think that like to be able to do that well, to be able to think clearly while under pressure, because being the protector, it kind of goes into that, is like if you can keep your cool in the midst of chaos, like that can mean that can determine the outcome between like life and death for like you and your family, or like the well-being of a loved one, whatever it may be. But
100%. And I hate that I feel the need to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Just kind of like a disclaimer. Of course, I'm not speaking in absolutes when I say these things.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that a maternal figure can't take on some of these roles as well.
Correct.
Likewise, the father can't take on some of the more maternal figures or roles. But we're speaking more in generalities here and what just historically has worked.
100%. Yeah.
And in that same vein, that next thing he talks about is, he says, enduring hardships without seeking sympathy. And again, I think that's in the same idea of being able to be that stone, that pillar that doesn't let emotion sway.
Yeah.
You have to be able to take the blows for your family.
Yeah.
You just do.
Yeah.
And no one's going to like pat you on the back for it. No one's going to tell you good job.
Yeah.
Just what you got to do.
I think, again, that kind of goes hand in hand with what we were saying earlier about like doing something for the end in of itself, the people, not seeking the, pats, the awards, whatever it may be, accolades and all that. At the end of the day, if the well-being of your family was maintained, you don't need to be looking for sympathy, because all that matters is the well-being was maintained.
Yeah,
That's it.
no, definitely. Yeah, it's hand in hand with the idea of what the statement does.
Yeah.
The end of your role as a father is that your family is good.
Yeah.
It's not the praise. It's not the sympathy. It's not the pats on the back.
Yeah.
Your family's good. That's the end goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one, he says, he was neither superstitious nor swayed by sophistry, but free, strong, and clear-minded.
Like that.
Yeah. Again, just logical.
Thought for himself.
Yeah.
Inquisitive.
Takes everything.
Grain of salt.
Yeah. And accepts advice from others at all times.
Yeah.
I don't know if we touched on it earlier, but
How he heard like people out all the time for
Yeah.
stuff. I love that, because honestly, that is a sign of being humble, that like anyone could like say something that you're like, yeah, I'll take that.
Here it is. A willingness to listen to any proposal that is in the interest of the state.
Yeah.
Like, no matter who it is, if you have something to say and there's value, I'm going to listen and I'm going to digest it. I may not agree, but that Socrates is the mark of a wise man, to entertain an idea without accepting it.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it's a solid idea.
Yeah, and then the last one, which I think is kind of all-encompassing, does not boast about his principles, he lives them.
Yeah.
None of these things are for, again, the like applause of anyone saying like, oh, look at this guy, he's such a good Stoic, he's such a good philosopher, we got to deify him, build statues and pillars and temples for him.
Yeah.
None of that. It's, you just live them.
Yeah, and that quote is a freaking nod to this book not intending to be published.
Yeah.
He didn't boast about this. This wasn't like I know all this stuff, I'm going to like throw it out there and publish it and like have people live in accordance with this. Like, no, it was his coping mechanism, is what he did to ground himself. And like, he lived them. That's what he did as a ruler. He didn't have things published that he believed was right.
When you think about that line, right, and you say a good father figure does not boast about his principles, he lives them. Saying it out loud does seem like you're like fishing for that good job, good father. But when you really think about it, you're like, this guy just wrote this to something he thought he was ever going to see. It was really just a reminder.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, the reason you're doing any of this, you're not doing it for applause.
Yeah.
You're living it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to think about that. Like you were saying, this was never meant to be published. This wasn't supposed to reach the ears of anyone else. Some people do speculate that it was meant for eventually Commodus and his brother to read so that they could better lead Rome. That never happened. But in essence, he was just kind of reminding himself, which I guess right now it just pops in my head. Do you think that maybe he wrote those types of things in a moment of weakness where he found himself maybe wanting those applauses? Because if they're reminders,
I think it's just natural. Yeah, I think so. I think if you're reminding yourself, you're only reminding yourself because you have moments.
You had a moment, yeah.
You had a moment of humanness. I think that that's what it is. I think that like I don't think that like, what we see on paper is the level he held himself to. Just because you hold yourself to a level doesn't mean you're always there.
Yeah.
And I think that like at the end of the day, what's important is the intentionality that you are. I think there's so much honor in holding yourself to a seemingly impossible height, right? I think what matters is at the end of the day, did you strive your absolute hardest to achieve that? And I think, a lot of these are reminders, and he's not always hitting them, but he did his damn best to. Yeah. And I think that it shows within his writings. And
I do, because I mean, not to compare ourselves at all, but like you and I both journal as well. And a lot of the times the things I write aren't because like I'm like, this is a good thing to write. It's because I might have messed up something that day that I feel like I could have done better. And it's a self-reminder.
I think almost more often than not, journaling feels naturally like this knee-jerk reaction for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To like keep ourselves
almost
in
calling
line.
yourself out
it
to
is.
yourself.
It
because
is.
no one else is going to hear it.
100%.
And I think that might have been a lot what he was doing here, which makes it all the better, honestly.
Yeah, it does. It does make it better. Yeah. Humanizes and all that.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
But yeah, I think that the next little section we have is going into mindset. A lot of the ideas that he just goes into here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's everything we've been speaking about. It's all mindset.
It is.
It's all mindset. Just more specifically, he goes into like the things that we need to practice on a daily basis or just on a regular basis to continue to live these things that we've spoken about for the last who knows how long.
Yeah.
He talks about owning the option of having an opinion, I think, is a big one.
Yeah. And that's it's amongst one of my favorite ideas that he has, because I think it just feels grounded. It just feels natural. I think something that we were talking about before this was that I think in today's age, ideas are so what's the word? Yeah, polarized. And I think that there's almost this like cultural, social pressure to like have an opinion on something. But that quote that he has, that like, you don't have to have an opinion about this, you don't have to turn it into something. I think that there's something so humble and real, authentic about just saying like, I don't know enough to have an opinion. Like, I really just don't know how I feel on this issue. Or maybe I know a lot, but I see both sides and I don't know where I stand. I know a lot of information on it, but like, I don't have an opinion. And that's fine. I think that like ridding ourselves of this pressure to have an opinion is a liberating thing.
It 100% is. And the ownership, I think that one line specifically I like a lot. We own the option to not have an opinion. It's our choice. I mean, we're, like you were saying, in as divisive a time as we exist, it feels like you're being forced to have an opinion.
Yeah, it does.
At all times, everybody's throwing something at you. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about what's going on in Ukraine? What do you think about what's going on in the Middle East?
I think to touch on that, is a big issue is like the pressure of like, oh, you must not care then if you don't know enough to like have an opinion. Like what are you doing? Like it's almost
are you
like
not in touch.
Yeah, or like you're doing a disservice to humanity, that like, oh, you're just not informing yourself enough as you should, because these are really important issues.
And I mean, I say this as a very opinionated person, but how much does it matter? I've always found it crazy to people who have that reaction you were just saying, that like, oh, do you not care? How dare you not have an opinion? How much does your opinion about what's going on in the Middle East actually affect the situation in the Middle East? At the end of the day, we're causing unnecessary stress on ourselves. And I know you and I both do this on a regular basis, or on a like semi-regular basis at least, is we go on like just media detox.
Yeah.
Because it feels like unnecessary stress.
It does.
I'm sitting here in my apartment, going to work, paying bills. I promise you that me having a thought out opinion on a specific piece of legislation will not change a thing.
No.
I did my civic duty by voting for specific legislations, and that's it.
Yeah.
And outside of that, what does it matter how hard and informed of an opinion I have in common discourse? It's not making a difference.
Yeah.
And just taking a step back to say, I don't know, is liberating.
It is. It is. Just, I don't have an opinion, but I'm more than open to getting more informed on it or whatever. Yeah. But that doesn't even still guarantee I'll have an opinion. It just, I'll have more information. Can make it easier to have an opinion, but doesn't guarantee you'll have one at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's this other quote that I really like by him that is a nod to ownership of emotion. Mm-hmm. I love it. He just says, today I escaped my anxiety, or no, I discarded it because it was within me and my own perception, not outside. And it's just a nod to, like, if you have anxiety right now, if you're sad, if you're angry, it's hard though to, you say, oh, I just discarded it, but like it can be a little complex and a little different from person to person. Well, how did you discard it? Like, what did that process look like? But at the end of the day, it does lie within us to alter our perception in accordance with a particular form of logic that results in the relinquishment of a particular negative emotion that is overwhelming us.
To say you escape something is to say that it exists in a physical space.
Uh-huh.
And that's what he's saying. It's not outside.
Yeah.
Anxiety doesn't exist as a room I'm in. It exists inside of me.
Yeah.
I need to be able to discard that from inside of me. I am not escaping a room. I am removing something from me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big shift because a lot of people do have that idea that, like, they're trapped in anxiety. No, anxiety's trapped in you.
Yeah.
You have to free it.
Yeah, having anxiety, being pissed is just like blowing your nose. You're just getting rid of that stuff. Yeah. And finding ways to do that in a healthy way, and having, you know, just more autonomy over the ability to do that will make you a better person, put you more in charge, make you less of a puppet on the strings of what your mind may be inclined to feel in a moment, and you know, put that power in your own hands.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's something that our generation and younger generations are having trouble with because we are like the most diagnosed generation in history, where things are put on us. Therefore, now we're trapped in the definition of these words. Yeah. And we've lost that ability to take ownership of ourselves because we're trapped in the words that entitles and subheadings that have been thrown at us. Yeah. Like, no, none of these things are me, and I'm not trapped in them. None of them are. This is just, and not to say that there's no such thing as clinical things that we have to diagnose. For sure. But I do think that there is an over-diagnosis of people. Yeah. Where we're just tossing these labels on top of people, and what we really aren't seeing is that it's almost impossible for people to climb out from under them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a nod to, like, label theory, why that's so big, and the phenomena really of, like, something you're told, and you start to live in accordance with that. And it's a powerful thing. It's really powerful because it's just in part with language. So much of what we know is a byproduct of language. It reinforces our conceptualization of reality. And so when things are said in certain lights, it makes us see them super differently. Yeah. And we will literally posture ourselves in accordance with these things that, like, are said to be a certain way. Right. It's just, it's powerful. Language is powerful, and giving more power to our perceptions. You continue to
tell yourself that you're this thing. Yeah. It becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, and I think that, like, that what you just said is a great point to bring up right here, because it's so hand in hand with, like, what we were saying originally with intentionality and, like, being intentional with your thoughts. Recognize, like, most of what we think on a regular daily basis is shit we've been telling ourselves, like, months and even years ago. We're caught in habitual cycles that aren't always, most often than not conducive to our goals and what we want to be and who we want to be. Yeah. And we wind up just stifling our growth and holding ourselves back. And to be more intentional with that, realize we have so much power than we give ourselves credit for. We can change our own lives. We really can.
I also like, and we've touched on this one a lot with all the other stuff we've talked about, but his rejection of fame, not only while you're alive, but like posthumous fame as well.
Yeah.
It's like we look back, he's one of, I think, the only, if not very few, emperors of Rome didn't have a column for him, didn't have a temple of him. None of these things were made during his lifetime. All these other people commissioned things during their lifetime to like show their grandeur. The Flavian amphitheater, like the Colosseum is the Flavian amphitheater for that guy. I think there's an Arch of Titus, the Arch of Constantine, all these different things.
Yeah.
There was a column of Marcus Aurelius that still stands today. Awesome. Go see it if you haven't. But there was also a temple, and that temple's gone now. It doesn't exist. But both were built during the reign of Commodus after Marcus's death, because he never wanted one. It didn't matter to him. He was also one of the few emperors, if I'm not mistaken, deified after his death. He didn't want to be deified. He's just, I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
And I really like just his continued, just fame's not a thing that matters. I don't need it. You don't need to like build great structures for me in my honor.
I have a question though. So like, it kind of reminds me of that quote that talks about like the good stuff, you know, like Lamborghinis and like classy apartments or whatever it may be. I'm thinking if like they're not the end, they're not the goal.
You're saying like as a
would
luxury?
he kind of just be like, all right, this is kind of nice. I see what you guys were going for. I feel nice from seeing this.
Yeah.
At the same time, you guys don't need to do this. Please don't. These were not my intentions. And he knows that like, we know what's up with what his wantings would be.
Yeah.
We did it anyways to celebrate him. And I think at the end of the day, humans freaking like being celebrated just inherently. It feels good to be clapped on the back.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt he would have like got in his room pissed.
Yeah, of course. Like, no, you weren't supposed to do this. Well, like what I'm getting at is like, you kind of like it in the same way. It wasn't the goal. It happened to be a nice little aftermath thing happening. I feel like he may grin a little, feel good that like, yeah, thousands of years later, people are still celebrating you for the good that you brought to the world. And like, sure, that wasn't your intentionality that drove everything you did, but it happened to be a little nice little.
And more stuff built after that still in his honor.
Yeah.
I mean, on Capitoline Hill today, which is where like Italy's like legislative buildings are on Capitoline Hill, stands a huge statue of him on a horse in the middle of the courtyard.
It's badass.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like, I would love seeing that just as a reminder, like not if that were me, but like just saying like a reminder, he's an idea. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like the Batman.
Yeah, I was thinking he's a symbol.
I felt that. But yeah, as an idea, like if I see that everything he embodied, posture myself today in accordance with that. If I walk by that, I'm having a better day having seen that than if I didn't. Just for sure. I'm going to act a little bit differently, you know?
There's two. There's one outside on the courtyard, which is a replica of the original because they didn't want the original to get eroded. Yeah. The other one's right in the museum to the right of it.
Oh yeah, didn't you send me a picture of that one? Right?
Yeah,
that's epic. There we go.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. I think another cool idea though, just to wrap things up, is I think an idea that encapsulates so much of him was that life wasn't happening to him, it was happening for like his training in a sense. Yeah. Where like he took every hardship, every opportunity of like thing to like increase my level of patience, increase my intelligence, my wisdom, all this stuff to be a better version of himself for the ends being a greater leader, a father, a husband, a son, whatever it may be. Yeah. For the betterment of humanity. And each moment we're confronted with on a regular basis that feels annoying is, as cliche as it sounds, really a test to be better.
It's a callback to that one we talked about earlier. Universe, anything that you give me on your time is not too late or too early for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything is just happening. And if I frame myself to look at the things that are happening to me as an opportunity to better myself, the only outcome is that I become a better person.
Yeah.
And that's got to be like our goal. And I think that's honestly a really good way to end a thing on meditations is we got to be the best us we can be. And he laid out what he thought were good ways and honestly worked for me and worked for you. And yeah. So that does wrap up this book.
Yeah.
We are going to move on now. I don't know. How are we doing this? Do you want to announce the next book at the end of the previous review, or should we make a separate video?
I say let's announce it. I say we announce it, and then I say we have a video officially like saying maybe like why we're doing it and all this.
All right, sounds good. So next book. Let me just make sure I have it
starting in October.
October 1st. Let me pull it up. I just want to make sure I have the right order. Yeah. Yes, I do. So the next book is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
Awesome book. Pick it up. Let's get to reading in October. And come spooky Halloween time, we'll do a review for that one.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much. See you next time.
Bye.